You're watching Weekend at Gabe's and I'm Weekend Gabe. This latest episode was brought to you by the good folks over at the Ghetto Flower. Use our code W at G for an exclusive 15% discount when visiting their site. Tell them I sent you. Now enjoy the show. All right, our next guest is one of the funniest voices that we've had on the show, and she's out there working. She has a show coming up on May 20th at the Laugh Factory, Sex and Shy City. Lyssa Laird joining us tonight on Weekend at Games. How are you?
Hey! Come on. I love the way y'all brought me in. I'm like, it's an alarm. I felt
There
like
you go.
Beyonce. Ring the alarm.
All right, we only got four social. We only got four samples. That's it. We got to put the alarm in there. Next
Right,
time.
that's it.
There you go. We got you.
We like
How
that
are
one.
you
We like that one.
How are you this
I'm good.
evening?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you all?
Good. We're so glad that you could.
Good.
So glad you could make time for us and join us. You've been doing the Sex and Shy City, like you just did one in February. So
Yeah.
you're bringing it back. What can people expect when they
You know
come
what?
out and see Sex and Shy City?
Sex and Shy City is like, it's one of those shows that's like, you think you know what you're getting, but you absolutely have no idea. It's an absolute experience. And like Laugh Factory in LA or Chicago, they've not had a show like this. So all my comics, if you 12 pounds soaking wet to 196,000 pounds, they're all in lingerie or some type of sexy pajama type situation, men and women alike. And then they perform in that because when I was coming up, I didn't know about being body positive or, embracing my
Mm,
sexuality or anything like that. So I decided to start a show where I would come out in lingerie. And at first I was like, you know what? I'll host in lingerie when I first started doing them. And then I was like, no, I want all my performers to be in lingerie. And the
word.
show just started taking on a life of its own. Like I've had people flash for shirts. I've had people come in lingerie. It's just taking on a life of its own, and so it's super fun.
So,
I
so,
That's
love doing that show.
amazing.
lingerie is not required to attend, but
Right?
it is encouraged.
I would
Yes.
go.
Look, it is encouraged. It's not gonna like keep you outside, but if you come in lingerie, you're gonna win something.
You recently just did a show on the Kenan Thompson comedy experience about a week or so ago. What was that
Yes.
experience about? Because you had on your Instagram post you said that you were really nervous about that. So how did it go, and then
So
what was it like meeting Kenan?
So we didn't get to meet Keenan this year. He came the first year that he came to that he did it in Chicago, but then COVID happened. So this was the first year that they brought it back to Chicago since 2019.
Got
And the
it.
people that won that year, they all got to meet him. We did not, unfortunately, get to meet him, but we did get to meet his representatives, and they were super dope. They were so awesome. Um, that experience was nerve wracking because for some reason, like I've been doing comedy 11 years, but when I'm doing like major
Wow.
competitions, when I'm doing like it just makes me nervous. You know what I'm saying? So I was in my head and like I listened back to that performance and it was good. It just was not me. I took the fun out of it because I was just so like, this is a big thing. So
Yeah.
I gotta relax.
All right.
So I was checking out your Instagram, your TikTok, everything, and I just want to say like you transmit this like really like amazing like energy, and you're so like confident and like I don't know, like that's literally the first like thing I thought about you, and like I
Oh
wanted to ask you like were you always like this like
no.
this confidence?
No, I wasn't. So I've always been really kind of like reserved and shy. Like I was on like if I was like I've been acting since I was 6. So on stage, that is a whole nother person. But in person, I'm like really chill, really reserved, really cool, laid back. I'm whatever, fly by. But when I get on stage, I come alive.
Mhm.
And recently, like maybe within the last 5 years, I've developed this thing where I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't be ashamed of how I look. I shouldn't be ashamed of how I feel about myself. And I should
Sure.
just embrace me personally. So I started going through different transformations. I had long hair naturally. then I cut it into a bob, then I did the whole pixie cut, and then I did the whole like fade look. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something different. My best friend was like, you know what? You should do bald, like Wakanda. And I was like, no. And he was like, no, for real, do it. And I was like, no. Like, I don't think so. I'm not ready for that. I'm like, I'm getting there, but I'm not there, bro. And we were drinking and having a good time. And then he said something, a thought triggered a thought. And I was like, you know what? Do it. Cut it all off. And he did. Like, he had his barber bag because he's a professional barber in Chicago. So he's like, he's like, I got my bag. And I'm like, all right. So we're literally drinking. I got this much hair on my head. And I'm like, do that shit. He like went right through the middle, bald as hell. And I was like, and it was so funny because India Ari, I'm not my hair came on. So I'm like crying now. It's like, he's like, I am not my hair. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
this
god, I would die.
so I'm in the kitchen. I'm like in the chair getting my hair cut. He's like, are you crying? I'm like, no. And then I ended up maybe 2 weeks later getting a tattoo in my head. So I did this and I was like, you know what? This is me. I'm like, I really do love just feeling free, you know? So I'm like, I want to inspire other people to just do, if you feel like that's you, do your shit. Don't care about what nobody else has to say about you. Just be free and confident and comfortable. And so I'm like, this signifies me not ever having a typical job again, believing in myself and just putting my pedal to the metal.
That's
you, you
amazing.
you
Thank
mentioned that
you.
you've been in the game for like 11 years, and yeah, told this story before, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Is that you're a manager at a beauty salon or beauty shop, and then
Yes.
like a customer or somebody came in, just heard you talking and thought you would be great to perform,
Yes.
and you then you ended up performing and you just sort of winged it and just talked your shit like you normally do, and it
Yep.
worked out well for you. uh
Yes.
how how has that, from that moment to where you are 11 years now, how has the process of drafting and creating stories or having your punchlines, how has that changed from freestyling to now like mapping it out of what you want to say and how you want to perform, or has it not?
No, no, it definitely has changed huge, tremendously. Because when I first started comedy, I was talking. I talk. And my very first show, I will never forget. I just talked about things that I've experienced in life and stuff like that. And then it just kind of went on and on and on. And then like I was like maybe fast forward maybe 3 or 4 years, I was doing comedy, and um, I was like, you know what? It's something that's not clicking right. You know what I'm saying? So then it was like, I need to figure it out. And then Lil Rel took me to the side and he was like, you putting too many words in there and you are going in a way where it's like, you trying to make people think it's funny. But he was like, use experiences from your life, use real life experiences. And Mike Sam was like, F all that. You need to just be honest. You know what I'm saying? You just need to do
Right.
your thing. And I was just like, I don't understand. And then I was like, you know what? Forget it. So I started writing what I thought was funny, and I actually started writing things that like happened in my life that maybe not be funny, but I could see a funny situation, and it just took off. And after that, that's when I started really seeing the bookings, and that's when things started to kind of change for me. So it was really dope. So that yeah,
Yeah.
so it did. It definitely changed from doing the fly by night thing to actually reading or thinking about situations and then putting it forward.
Yeah. How did your because your bio says that you were doing like stage theater since the age of 6. So how did those skills transfer over to stand up comedy at all?
Yeah, because I like I said, I started off acting, so like on stage, I'm like
Yeah.
really animated. So I guess that's something that kind of sets me aside from other comics. I don't just stand there
Yeah.
with the mic doing my thing. I really get into it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I will roll around on the floor for a joke.
There's sort of like an like inside baseball to holding the mic, and we talked about this with other comedians. How do you wrap your hand around the mic? Are you like on top of the mic, or like do you like sort of grasp underneath it? Well, what like
No, I really hate to see when comics like grab it on the mic. I be like, why? Because sometimes it'll create an interference. I hate it. They be like, bloop, and I'd be like, oh my God, why is your hand over the mic like that? So no, I definitely do hold the actual mic. I'd be like, ugh, like the little stem. I'd be on the stem.
I was listening to this podcast episode that you did with was it the laugh? What is it? I forgot the name. But it was like where you were talking about like that like you go on dates but like you're not like planning to like get married and everything.
Mm-mm.
And like I mean that's literally like how I feel now. I'm 22, but like
Yes.
fine, like I just go on dates with people, but I'm not looking for any. You know what I mean? Like I'm like that, and like I feel so related to everything. I like, listened to a whole like that's because I was so entertained by everything you said.
Yes, thank you. No, you know what? For me, it's just like I feel like it should not be a double standard type of situation. If a man want to have sex with 46 people and be the player, I should be able to have sex with 46 people and be a player too. You know what I'm saying? Like, why I gotta be a hoe, but you a player? Like, no, sir. You know. So
Yes,
that's just how I feel. I'm like, if I feel like on Thursday I had a date at 12 for lunch and I got a date at 6 for dinner. I shouldn't be a whore. I'm just,
that
a
was
player
me
at
last year.
sex.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I feel you
I gotta weigh my
completely.
options out here in these streets. Like, like I went on a date the other day. Dude decided to FaceTime me in the morning. I'm like, unsolicited though.
Yes.
I'm like,
I see this.
I was ugly as hell. I was asleep. It was like 9 o'clock. He was like, oh, before I go pick my son up, you know what I'm saying, so he can take him to daycare, I just want to see your beautiful face. I was like, I
Oh
know
my
you right. I was ugly as hell. Like one of my
god.
lashes had came up. I look like them dogs when in the 90s they were like, that's how I look. I'm like, you're not gonna call me like that. No, thank you. So I haven't called him back because he has to understand.
We were at the beginning of the show, Lisa. We were talking about the NFL draft is tonight, and we were saying if we were on the dating draft board, how high would we go? And Aranza was very confident that she would go number one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like a third round pick, like a mid
No, I'm
third
going.
round pick.
I'm going
No.
straight to the league, baby. I'm going straight to the
Yes,
league. You hear
that's
me?
literally what I said. I'm like top one, like number
Because sis,
one.
you got to be confident like that. I'm definitely gonna be. If I'm not the number one draft pick, I'm definitely number two for sure. Me, like, hey, on the popular team. What are you talking about?
I kind of feel like I'm like the 90th pick who has to like kind of work himself through
Not
special
the
teams
90th
into the
pick.
No,
starting.
but you don't have to
Yeah.
think
Not the
like that. You have
Diddy.
to be like, I'm
He
number one.
like, he like, I'm gonna go to that team. You be like, oh, we got two teams. Terrible, terrible.
Listen, that's just I like Ananza was saying like I was undervaluing myself. She thought I was in the top
Yes.
10. I felt like I was like
Pick yourself up, King. Don't do that.
That's what I
Pick
said.
yourself
Like, I don't know
up.
why you think like that. Like, you have to say, like, I'm number one. Like, it doesn't matter what.
because the
But you know
expectations
what?
are too high. If you go one and
But
then you don't
no,
become number one,
you be mad
you
as
don't
hell.
perform like a number
But
one.
but legit, I used to be like that. Like I used to be like, if a dude be like, you know what I'm saying, what like on a scale of 1 to 10, how you see yourself? I'd be like, I'm a hard 6. And then I had dudes be like, nah, bro, you definitely like a 10 as hell. And I'm like, I don't see that. But now, if a
Yeah.
dude be like, man, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you place yourself? I'm like, boy, I'm the best you ever seen. What are you talking about?
Like, 1,000. Like, 1,000 out of 10. That's how I feel.
1,000. Come on,
Literally,
high five. Boom.
I love that.
Yes, that part.
You're literally me. Like, that's how I'm gonna be when I grow up. Like, you're
Facts.
me.
Big facts.
I wanted so I know you're a mother of one, right? So I know you have like a
Yes,
daughter that's like 8 or 9 years old.
that's it. She is
Um,
13, Lord.
all right. So I was scrolling through your Instagram, right? And there was like about 3 years ago, she for a homework assignment when they were asking her to describe what her mom looked like, and she said for hair color she just put wig.
She did that. She
Well,
absolutely
why?
did that.
So, as someone who has two boys, one of them who's also nearing teenage, he's 12, going on 13 this year. Well, why
Mm.
can't these kids be loyal? Well, I don't know
Bruh,
why they can't be
I
loyal.
BS you not. Me and my daughter did a play together, right? Now I'm like, my stomach was doing this little rumble in the jungle, and I was like, my God. So it was like a really far off bathroom, right? So I go use that bathroom. And I don't know what it is about being a parent, but I feel like your kids just have this tracker device on you and they can always find you. So my daughter is the person who comes in the washroom, and I seen her feed. I'm like, that's my baby. But I had already flushed the toilet, so I'm like, I gotta come out now because it's weird if I just sit in here, you know. So I come out, and she's like judging me, like she has this judgy ass eyes, and I'm like, bro. She leave out the restroom. I'm like, she finna start a rumor. I'm like, I know, you know. So I go back into the dressing room with the other ladies, and before we go on stage, this girl was like, "Oh my god, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee." So my daughter's like, "Well, I hope you don't go to the back bathroom because my mama was back there and she don't blew the bathroom up. Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm like, bro, nobody even asked you, bro. Like, what is happening right now? Like, where's your loyalty, bro? Like, I pay for your shoes, your hair. That's me, bro. Like, what is happening? The kids don't give a f about their parents." I was like, "Yo," I'm like, "We really got to figure out our relationship because this ain't it." I almost
Hey,
broke up with her that day.
I don't know if you can see this on the board, but our other super intern said their 4-year-old nephew told her belly was too big when they went to the pool last summer. Yo, that's foul.
Kids are something
Yo,
else.
your nephew, push him down hard. Like just push him down, trip him. He deserved to be tripped for that. You feel me? Like my daughter,
Yeah.
one time, I will never forget. I had gained a little weight. Me and her dad had broke up, and I was like depressed. And I had got lost a little weight. I lost a lot of weight, and then I kind of like got happy again. So I was like, I'm good. And my daughter was laying on my stomach one day, and she was like, "Mommy, I hope this is my brother." And I was like,
Oh
"Excuse me."
shit!
So I got a
Yo.
gym membership after that for sure. I ended up at Planet Fitness because I was like, nah, kids don't care. They don't
That's
care.
hardcore. No, man. Listen, as a male, I know my place not to ever suggest any woman is pregnant, even if they're pregnant,
Mm-mm.
until they tell me like face to face that they're pregnant. I'm like, yo, keep doing what you're doing, Queen. You killing it.
One time, I made the mistake, right? Now, this chick absolutely looked pregnant, right? And was at the grocery store. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. And she was like, on what? And I was like, okay, I'm wrong. She was like, so we had that awkward look, and I just like pushed my cart. Excuse me, can I grab these chips? Thanks. And I just kept going fast. So I won't
No,
ever
that's
congratulate
why I don't
anyone
say
ever again.
anything. I don't say I don't
Nothing.
talk to people.
No, hell no. Don't
She's
say
like,
anything.
oh, this is a hernia. And I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
It's especially if you do that in the office setting, you'll fuck around and end up in HR. The whole
You hear
vibe
me?
of your relationship is
Mm-mm.
foul. Nope,
Just
polluted.
ruined. Okay, now I'm a dick. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking with Rob Mayfield. I don't know if you're familiar with Rob,
Yeah.
but
It's his
he was
birthday.
in the yeah. Shout out to Rob.
Happy birthday.
He was in the Navy, and
Mm-hmm.
you spent some time in the Air Force,
Yes.
and he sort of found comedy through that, like this time there, not necessarily because of the Navy, but what is there anything fun about the Air Force?
No. No. I got hurt in the Air Force. Like, I guess it was just a different experience because was just fresh out of high school. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to the military to be G.I. Jane and I'm going to be a rock star. And then I got there and I was like, this is BS and I want to go home. I got
Yeah.
hurt and I was like, I could not be happier. I was like, send me home. And they did.
What was your injury?
So it's called patellofemoral syndrome, which means I like have no cartilage in my
Cartilage.
left knee. So
Oh
like
shit.
sometimes if I'm doing like exercises and stuff like running or jumping and stuff like that, my knee will swell up like a baseball.
Oh man.
So they found that out, and I was like, oh, they was like, well, this was a pre-existing. Well, they tried to say it was a pre-existing condition, and I'm like, nope, not, I've been in the gym all my life, and never happened, never happened. This
Yeah.
was y'all. So yeah,
United States government like no workers comp here.
right.
Like
They was like, no, that was already there. I was like, I never experienced it. What happened? You know?
before we get out of here, I can't help but ask. So you used to be a tap dancing stripper. Are you still doing that work?
So I the tap dancing stripper came along when I actually used to be an actual stripper, right? I had just had
Word.
my daughter and I was looking for a job because we were living with my daughter's father and his mother was living with my daughter's father's mother. And she was like,
Mm.
yo, y'all gonna have to figure something out. And I was like, I need to get a job. So I went to a strip club and I was like, yo, I want to be a house mother because I will get these hoes in chat. And they were like, we're not hiring for that. And I was like, oh, okay. So then like 2 weeks passed and I had been putting in all these apps and nothing came back. So I went back to the strip club like, hey, y'all still looking for dancers or whatever? And they was like, yeah, we did you be back. And I was like, you was right.
Damn. That's
So
so
I
fucked
ended
up.
up dancing, and I was like the worst stripper in the world. Like they would be like, in Illinois, you can take off your top, but not your bottom. So they would be like, "Yo, take off your top," and I'm like, "No, do you know what these look like without back support? Like two pendulums." And I refuse, you know. So I got fired. I started working at Target shortly after, and yeah, the rest is history, really.
And then you got and then you're doing OnlyFans as well during the pandemic. And how
Now that is actually a thing. Okay, so the
I
panorama
know it's a
happened.
thing. Yeah, I've heard of
We
this.
saw it.
Listen, the
I
panorama
We saw
happened.
the link. The link.
we saw the link.
Right.
Yeah, hey, be careful with
Look, and
that.
it's
We
baby,
we didn't
let me tell
enter.
you. We didn't enter. So
Listen, that
like so the OnlyFans thing came along because I was like, you know what? I do comedy and dudes always be like, because I used to have a shirt and I'm gonna bring it back, but it say but these titties though. And it used to be like an eye chart. And so I was like, I'm gonna bring these shirts back because they were super popular. It's like, but these like what your shirt say? And like you looking close and you realize it's like, oh my god, it say but them titties though. That's hilarious. So all the dudes would be like, oh man, your titties so big, you so beautiful, but them titties, oh. So when the panorama happened, I was like, man, I can't work. I'm like, something gotta happen. So I started an OnlyFans, and it's pretty much just me doing comedy, topless or whatever the case may be, and people like be paying for it. They be like, "Where are the funny TikToks with your titties out?" And I be
Oh
like,
my god.
"I'm posting." Sorry, I have like so many inboxes. Like, I don't know whether to laugh or jerk off, but I'm doing both. And I'm like,
Yo.
serious, serious. I'm like, shoot, OnlyFans paid my car note last month. Hey man,
Hey, get it how you live, Queen. That's all I
you
gotta
hear me?
say.
Get down how you live.
I'm gonna,
I'm
I'm
like, it's a
gonna,
dude
I'm
right
gonna,
now.
I'm gonna get an
Pay for my little
OnlyFans.
toenails. Do it, sis. Do it.
You will.
Listen, I threatened the wife, like, hey, I'm gonna just get like just show my feet. I'm pretty sure somebody would pay for that.
Facts.
Like,
Literally.
But like, do
yeah.
it.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. If things get desperate, then might have to go that route.
Listen, rent, car note paid off OnlyFans. Do your shit, King. Don't let your wife hold you back.
well, she won't let me donate sperm because she's worried that there'll be a bunch of mini me's out there in the world that she won't know about.
Don't do that. But you know what I'm saying? Fuck your OnlyFans.
Don't
Be
do
like, hoes love
that.
this belly, girl. Don't do that. They love these wiggling up toes. I got to do right now. Pay for my manicure. My pedicure. I was like, thank you. He was like, I want to see white toes. I'm like, you're going to have to pay for it. He surely did send that money. I was like, well, God bless you.
Yeah. Gabe, the real Sam Crane says Gabe has not nice feet. OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
So
That is hilarious.
there you go. All right, before we get out of here, this is a question from our other super intern. She was listening to one of your jokes, how she said that women with large breasts are struggling with a variety of bras that they can choose from, and that you guys only get the three ugly colors. Was it red, beige, and white?
I never said red. They are black, beige, and white.
There you go. Yeah. She
Just
said she
terrible.
said she said she never related with the comedian more than that moment.
Yes, it was like, you know what? Because it's like with black bras, you can wear like floral panties. With the beige bras, like, you know what? Maybe I'm not into it tonight. And the white bra, no one actually buys the white, but it's just an option.
Yeah. So, well, she wanted me to pass along that you're very relatable. The struggle is real.
Thank you, my big titty sis.
Head over to the Laugh Factory May 20th, Sex and Shy City,
Yes.
Lyssa Laird's birthday show. It's going down the major way. You can wear lingerie or some jammers no pressure,
Yep.
but it would definitely make the evening a lot more special and
More
fun.
interesting. Come on in your lingerie. May 20th, 11:30 at night. Let's go.
There you go, Lyssa. I didn't even talk about you being from the South Side one time.
I'm so proud of you.
Rep that. Thank you so much for passing through, and we appreciate. Love to have you back in the future.
Yes, please have me back. Thank you so much. You guys were awesome. I got a
Yeah.
chance to like peek in on some of the show, and it was super, super dope. So I really thank y'all for having me. Y'all were awesome, and I would definitely come back.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Lyssa Laird,
See
right
y'all.
here on Weekend at Gabe's. And that it wraps this week's show. That was fucking phenomenal. I love when the comedians actually like come through and just leave us in laughter. All of them do. But
That was really fun.
this one seemed particularly special. I really had a blast. Thank you for watching the latest episode of Weekend at Games on YouTube, brought to you by the Ghetto Flower. Make sure to also click on the links in the description for more information to our guests and access to exclusive new music from the Ghetto Flower and so much more. Make sure to also like and subscribe to the show, and also continue to share, support, and show love by clicking on any of the links surrounding my head. Thanks for watching.